Okay, guess what? It's Thursday and it's time to do the Don Miller radio/podcast. But I got to do the radio. Let me explain something to you. I just get this something about radio. I know it. I know you guys are like, this new podcast wave. Everybody's doing a podcast, but everybody ain't Don Miller. And I can tell you what I enjoy more than anything else. To go back to the platform the Negro first had a voice, and that was radio. So I am on radio Tuesdays from 12 to 2, WOKBradio.com. You can grab the app. The app fell down this week because they didn't know I had enough people that come on like that, so just hang with us.
You crashed the app?
Yeah, we're going through some difficult times at the radio station. We just lost the boss man. But we're going to be back up and running. I'll be there Tuesday. We're going to adjust the app situation. But I just want to thank you. I am still on radio, 12 to 2, Tuesday, WOKB Radio, the voice of the Negro in where I broadcast from. But also right here, podcast, The Don Miller Show, YouTube channel. Subscribe and like. Hit that button. Tell your friends. Share it. If you're doing nothing else for me, just share it. Tell your friends. This is not for the faint of heart. If you are the faint of heart, immediately leave the channel because your feelings going to be hurt. Joining me here on the show tonight, and listen, it ain't a whole bunch of people. And I want to shout out to Mika Page and those of us who love and respect this gentleman. He is currently just a brilliant scholar. He is a black man. And when I say black man, y'all know I'm talking about black man. I'm talking about foundational Negro. Like his people came over here on the boat. And I just want to say this, and I love this gentleman. I've known him for many years. He is my friend. He is a guy that I call when I just acknowledge. He is my buddy, Dr. V. It's a white. He's a scholar. He's an imam. And he is one of the most brilliant men that I know. And he's joining me tonight. Thank you so much, Doc.
Oh, thank you, Don. I mean, I'm glad to be here.
You know, Doc, it's amazing because I need you tonight, man. And I'm going to tell you, I say oftentimes on the show, men need men.
That's right.
Okay? And where we come from, Doc, we understand that men need men.
Steel sharpens steel.
Black men, white men, men need men.
Absolutely.
If a man does not have a man in his life to look at him in a difficult situation or even a situation that he know not which way to go, he is a troubled man. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to tell you guys, look, men need men. And so I'm just so blessed. I don't play with fortunate or lucky. I am blessed to have men in my life that I can call on that can give me direction. And these are men who have gone through it. I wouldn't want to call a dude who ain't went through it.
That's right.
Right, Doc?
That's right.
So my good friend, Bethune-Cookman University, Purdue University, University of Chicago, okay?
Ohio State.
Ohio State. This
Absolutely.
dude, okay? You went to Islam University.
That's right. Absolutely.
So this gentleman is my friend. He is one of the most brilliant scholars I know. He's joining us tonight from the South Side of Chicago.
69th and Murrow.
Thank you so much. Hey, listen, there's so much to get to. Shout out to Phil, the podcast doctor.
Yo.
Phil, how you doing over there, man?
Life is good, man.
Hey, for those people who want this shirt, go home, Barack. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But let me just say this, guys. We are living in a very precarious time. I want to hit this because many of my non-black friends, shout out to my friends in the Panhandle. So many of you guys I can't name, but I'm going to hit out Sparky and Katie and all of those. I love you guys. G-Off, what's up, baby boy? Rob O'Brien just sent us a message. Thank you so much for supporting this broadcast, man. You know, it really warms my heart when I came, first of all, when I landed at white radio at the highest level of white radio, and they were like, Don Miller, he's our guy. And I was like, man, white people like me like this? Maybe my credit will get better, but it didn't happen because I wasn't there long enough, okay? So again, thank you so much, everyone. I got a lot to get to today. Dr. White, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You were recently running for Congress. Mm-hmm. And you suspended the campaign.
Absolutely.
Doc, tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, first of all, when I ran for Congress, I registered as an NPA. That's a non-party affiliate. Mm-hmm. Then I was doing that very well for about 8 months, 9 months. Then I received a call from the Board of Elections out of Tallahassee, telling me that, listen, you can't run as an NPA because you registered too late. We knew that it was a lie. but I did not have enough money to sue the party nor the establishment. So they forced me to run into their primary. And their primary, the Democratic primary, is rigged, and that's where they have their base. My base is in the general election.
Absolutely,
All right.
sir.
So therefore, I had to run into that. Now, before that, a lot of things was going on. One, our first major activity in the public was part of the Martin Luther King parade. All right, they kicked us out of the parade because they didn't like our message. Our message was that we were against the Biden-Harris policies.
Absolutely.
With Ukraine as well as Israel. They didn't like it, so they kicked us out. All right, took our money and kicked us out. Then after that, the next thing that occurred is that my campaign manager's car was torched. I mean, he's another guy from the city.
What?
All right, and that's what happened.
Absolutely.
And then when that came along, then our account started being hacked. All right, strangely, nobody else is having these types of problems. Then when I would go to some of the activities with the Democrats, they wouldn't let me speak. I would literally have to take the microphone from them. The question is why? Why did they treat us this way? It's because of our message. Our message was one of unification. Our message was one of stopping the madness that was taking place in the Oval Office as well as in Congress. Our message was that we have to stop illegal immigrants. Our message was that we had to end this high inflation that's taking place, stopping the wars, stopping this attack on the African American community. And we were also focusing on the fact that African American men are independent. They can think. But they must have a place in the party. And the only people in the party right now, they may not like me to say it, but it's our women, all right, or if you are gay.
Absolutely.
All right, women and gay. If you're a straight black man, there's a sign that says you need not apply.
You know what, Doc, and I thank you so much again, Dr. White, for joining us. But this is not, you haven't heard the last of Dr. White. I want to sit here on this show and say, and I want to say my listeners who have heard you on this show before, we're going to all get behind you, Doc, because we need your voice. And I just need the voice of someone that can really articulate the message, that understand the message, that's educated, and that's committed to really consistently presenting the conversation the way it should be presented. So I thank you, my friend, for joining me.
Thank you.
I thank you for being true.
Thank you, sir.
So I just want to get to this real quick. The other day, and I just want to call it desperation. I've been around this a long time, Doc, as have you. The Democrats, I have not seen the Democrats this nervous since Abraham Lincoln took their slaves away. That might have went over somebody's head, but that'll be all right. Because they're panicking. So this is how far away, how divided they are from the common American, especially common black American. Yes. You see all these black pundits on these TV shows, they're not in touch with the guy who's working two jobs, or the lady who's concerned about picking her baby up because they're charging her $20 every 5 minutes for being late to daycare. So they're not in touch, Doc.
Yeah.
So they send out the baby Jesus to talk to the Negro man. So they go grab Barack Hussein Obama, Barry Soetoro, if you want to be correct,
right,
to come and talk to black folk. He comes out the other day and he chastises black men who may consider voting for anybody but Kamala Harris. And I want to play this clip, and I want to spend a few minutes on this because I was kind of shocked that they did it. I knew they were desperate. I know the numbers that you guys are seeing are fake. And I know this because I've been on the backside of this for a long time. But did anybody tell them that Barack's power with the Negro man has been gone for a long time? Phil, play this clip of Barack Obama telling black men how to vote.
To black voters.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I'm speaking to men directly now. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Stop it. Stop it. If you bring your clown ass, little skinny ass pants, tight jacket, non-Negro. Doc ain't say this. I said this, guys.
I believe it.
Non-Negro, skinny pants, tight jacket. Read my shirt, y'all. Go home, Barack. You're rich as cream. You don't need to do this. You're rich as cream. You don't need to do this. Go back to Martha's Vineyard. You don't need to do this. Why is he doing it? Because he is behind the curtain. Now, let me just say this, guys. I don't know if y'all know this, right? The forces that surround power are the real power. I want to quote that again because that was said by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan back in the day.
You know, one of the things about the party and in reference to Barack, first, the party is paternalistic bigots, all right, which means that they think they can control everything and tell the American people what is good for them, all right, as if the American people don't have a brain. In reference to the African-American community and African-American male in particularly, they are paternalistic racists because they're not only trying to control the destination of the black man and the black community, they are trying to keep them as slaves within to follow a certain ideology and perspective. And now they didn't understand that everybody grows up and everybody matures. And you know, when you play a game on people long enough, soon enough, that person is going to find out how the rules are played, and they're going to find out, and they're going to come back to bite you. The African-American male now, they're saying, no, listen, Barack, you're not part of us. And one of the things that they forget is that Barack was never part of the African-American scene. You see? So therefore, when you look back at it, they say, well, you're not part of us. You can't tell us anything. I mean, while you were at Harvard, we were on the streets doing our thing. While you were playing with the Democratic Party, we were hustling, trying to make ends meet for our family. In fact, Barack, when you had an opportunity to hold on to your blackness with the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, you got rid of him.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, you had joined his church, you had listened to his revolutionary theological sermons, and now all of a sudden, he's not good enough for you. Remember, Barack, you was going to Operation Breadbasket, all right, with Jesse Jackson.
Absolutely.
Learning the African-American scene on the South Side. But when he didn't follow your ideas, you got rid of him. Remember, Barack, you were going to Mosque Miriam and going to the Million Man March that Minister Louis Farrakhan held, all right, trying to learn blackness. Then when you so-called outgrew them, you started hanging out with the other people. And the other people made you feel like you're part of their circle. And now you have become a detriment to the rise and the liberation of not just black people and black men, but to America in itself.
And that's what we're seeing. You know, you're right. Because I remember talking to people when he was showing up at Mosque Mariam at 77 in Stony Island, like weekly.
Absolutely.
Okay? But he denied ever knowing the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I remember 95th Street off the Dan Ryan showing up at Jeremiah Wright's church. And then they said what Jeremiah Wright was preaching was anti-American. He denied having a relationship with Jeremiah Wright. And so when I watched this guy, this was back in 08, Glenn Allgood, if you're listening, put this up on the screen. Glenn sent us a message. I said, I can't touch this guy. I don't want nothing to do with him. The fact of the matter is, he was selected before he was elected.
Absolutely.
Okay? And now you go drag this guy out who got overwhelmingly 90%+ of the black vote, okay, both times. Both times, because the black person is, we're emotional, not informational.
Absolutely.
So 90% of the vote, and his first agenda, Doc, when he landed in the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue, was to immediately pivot toward LGBT transgender. Okay? So at the end of the day, this is how out of touch the Democratic Party is with what's happening in the black community. Black men are real people.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep disrespecting us. And he shows up and he degrades black men by talking down to them. But this is not the first time.
No, the first time was in 2008, I believe. He was with Jesse Jackson, along with Jesse Jackson's son, and he was called off mic. All right? What happened was that he started talking down to African-American men, and Jesse Jackson got pissed off.
Yes, he was hot.
All right?
Yes.
Jesse Jackson said, I need to cut his nuts off.
Okay, let's play that clip, Phil, if you got it, man.
Oh.
Reverend Jesse Jackson was mad as heck, and he felt like Barack was playing the black community, and he got caught on a hot mic. Listen to this.
Talking down to black people on those faith-based
Yeah, see? Stop it right there. He's talking down to black people. Say, I want to cut his penis, his balls off, right?
That's what
The
he said.
fact is, if you don't remember that, look, like Reverend Jackson or Hayden, guys, Reverend Jesse Jackson was a stalwart for black people for a long ass time.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to hate on him. And I want to put on the record for somebody else to say something. I've known him my whole life. Matter of fact, if my friend who works in my office at the front desk, who's been with us for many years, she'll tell you right now. If she's on the screen, she could drop us a note. He showed up at the office random as heck one day, and she buzzes me, and she said, hey, Reverend Jesse Jackson's here to see you. And I'm like, how you know I'm not? Somebody told him, Donnie's office is over there. Mm-hmm. The fact is, this is when he went south on Barack.
That's right.
Because he said, dude, you can't talk down to our people. But this is who Barack is. This is who he has been. Right. He came from Indonesia. He went to Hawaii. He went to Occidental. He went to Columbia. He went to Harvard. Then he met Michelle.
That's right. I mean, he is following the trend like many people from that part of the world. And that is the African-American family is no good. They're separated. The black man is nothing. All right. He's nothing more than a Negro. Mm-hmm. And that's how he spoke.
Yes.
You see? And Jesse Jackson, not only did Jesse Jackson get on him, Gus Savage got on him.
Gus Savage crushed him.
I mean, Danny Davis.
Davis
got on him.
Absolutely.
Because you can't talk about our people like this. And plus, you're not even from the South Side.
Absolutely.
You don't know nothing. You don't have the experience.
So when I see people talk about, wow, this guy has a history of talking to y'all like that. I was at the Congressional Black Caucus many years ago, and I was so upset, but you can't leave. Secret Service won't let anybody leave once you get there. I went to this event. I was a guest of a Congresswoman from California, and Barack Obama goes to the stage, and it was so appalling, and I was so angry, and I couldn't leave. And so I had to sit there and listen to this dude who didn't even know who we were. He was selected before he's elected, right?
Right.
And listen to what he had to say at the Congressional Black Caucus a few years ago.
I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. I expect all of you to march with me and press on. Take off your bedroom slippers. Put on your marching shoes. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do.
Pause that. So this light-skinned Negro, who don't even know us, felt like that was okay, Phil.
We got work to do.
Phil, that's not okay to people who voted over 90% for you.
Stop complaining.
If the Negro can't complain, and y'all know I'm a conservative, Doc, you're a conservative, but if the Negro can't complain, illegal immigration directly affects the wages of black people.
Absolutely.
Just want to drop that nugget on the show. If the Negro can't complain, and you keep bringing illegals into this country, taking, remember this, black jobs. I knew what Trump was saying when he said black jobs.
We all knew.
Yes. I know what a black job is. Doc, you know what a black job is. Come on, cut it out, right?
Absolutely.
And then this guy who has pretty much talked down to us since he got to the White House, because let's be clear, that's what it is. And now all of a sudden he comes back and he challenges us and pretty much says, y'all need to stop complaining, shut up, and vote for her.
That's right.
because I said so. You ain't my daddy, Mr. Sir.
You know, besides, the only thing he gave the African American community was an emotional high. There's nothing definitive that was good that he gave to the African American community. I mean, crime was still high, unemployment was still high, inflation was bad, all of these things. But they have some type, the Democrats have some type of storyline now as if you've forgotten history. All right. And these things can't change. So therefore, they drag him out as if he is some type of savior, some type of messiah to get the black man and the white man in line to come vote for a person who is invisible. When I say invisible, hasn't done anything, hasn't presented herself to the community, haven't given a real platform, and hasn't said anything about, you know what? I value the African American community. In fact, I value other underclass communities, and she hasn't done it.
And she's not going to do it because she feels like she doesn't have to do it. And I just want everybody to hear me on this one real quick. I want to shift quickly to Vice President Harris.
Yeah.
Barack Obama is a smart guy. And I think he's not only a smart guy, I think he is a guy who pretty much understands when he goes out, and this is what you have to assume, because I tell everybody, Reverend Jackson knew that mic was hot. I believe that, because Reverend Jackson's done 10,000, 15, 20,000 interviews. I know. One thing you learn when you're in this business, you assume the mic is hot, Phil. Okay? Yep. Always the mic is hot, right?
That's right.
And I think Jesse Jackson was saying, Ixnay, he don't like you Negroes. Because we continue to accept this guy talking about, pull up your pants, take care of your kids. Well, sir, we knew your real history. We would know if you got kids to take care of or not. You were created by Axelrod and Plouffe. Let's be clear, right? We don't know you. You got any cousins? You got any girlfriends? The only girlfriend he had, the white lady, put out the letters that he was talking about, imagine having sex with men. Those letters are public. Go read them. The girlfriend put out the letters. The girlfriend from Occidental or Columbia, whichever one she was, white girl, blonde hair. He sending me letters because he wants to have sex with men. I'm not making this up, but of course, don't nobody want to read it because they don't want to feel bad that they're Messiah. Because there are some people who see this gentleman as a Messiah, a figure.
Surely, yeah.
Right? So the fact of the matter is, he should be ashamed of himself for resurfacing after not doing anything for the people who loved him the most.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a shock. It's a disgrace. And the black community is being right. Put him back out. Give him his walking papers. He is not wanted.
Right.
If he really wanted to do something to help African American people, he would have done it during his administration. Or he would have been saying right now, black men are smart. They have the right to choose. Maybe it's not them. Maybe it's us.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yes.
We have to change our course. We have to invite them. We have to do something for them to make them feel as if they're part of this place that we call America, or at least a part of the party.
Absolutely.
And they haven't.
Right.
You see?
And now they're mad at the Republicans who are saying, come over here. Now they're like, how dare you go over there? You got idiots like Warnock, okay, the senator from Atlanta. Okay, and look, listen to me. I want to tell every black person I know, Atlanta is a mythical city. Between the homosexual bottoms and the homosexual bottoms and the homosexual bottoms, because nobody's a top. Okay, the white boys knocking off the homosexual bottoms in Atlanta. You know that's where you in Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Power bottoms.
Power bottoms. That's what you call them, Phil. The fact of the matter is you got Warnock coming to a microphone, scaring black people, telling black people that, Trump is going to do this and that if he wins again. Well, he had 4 years. We still did all right. The problem is we got to stop letting our enemy pick our enemy.
That's right. I mean, one of the things that...
take your time, Doc. This is Don Miller Show. We have a good time on here.
I can't remember this name right now. This slip from South Africa. But when he gave the interview in New York, and they asked him, well, Why are you bothering Libya? Why are you bothering this country and Cuba? He said, just because they're your enemies doesn't mean that they're my enemies.
Mandela?
Mandela.
Absolutely.
Nelson Mandela.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So that's the same thing. But they don't understand the fact that the African American male, the African American society wants the same thing as the larger community.
Right.
That is good homes.
Right.
All right. Good jobs.
Good schools.
Good businesses.
Yeah.
We're conservative by nature in that. And they just assume that the African American community is everything to the far left. They assume that, all of us want to smoke marijuana. They all assume that all of us are white beaters. They all assume the most negative thing.
But that's Democrats.
That's it.
And think about this. I'm so brilliant that you turned the corner. Think about this. So Kamala Harris puts out her agenda for black men. She okay, so Barack comes out and tells brothers, look, let me explain something to you. I got a lot of white friends. I probably got more white friends than black friends. But I don't care because they're my friends.
Right.
You follow me? I just happen to be in a certain circle of people, Doc, as you, right?
Absolutely.
If I worry about the color of my friend's skin, then I'm a POS.
That's right.
I want a friend.
That's right.
Okay? So I'm listening and I'm watching. Barack comes out and he pushes the race button. Black men. And I'm watching black people who shout out to all these brothers who's like, man, we ain't trying to hear from you. Barack, go home. Hashtag Barack, go home, right? Yeah. Go home, Barack. And I'm watching this, and then within 24 hours, Phil, she drops her agenda for black men. This agenda, we got a screenshot, includes, she dropped a blend $20,000 for 1 million black men. $20,000, right? For 1 million black men. Plus, something got to do with weed. Hey, we don't all smoke weed, man.
Absolutely.
Huh?
That's right.
We don't all smoke weed. We need no weed legislation.
What's so disingenuous about this whole element about $20,000? First of all, if she is really serious about helping the wealth gap, all right, with the African American community, she would have said something different. For example, and shortly after the Biden-Harris team took the Oval Office, they started to write a memorandum that was to give illegal immigrants who have been separated on the border by the so-called Trump administration $450,000 a piece. Well, if she is really concerned,
right,
that's where she would have gone.
Right.
All of this was nothing more than an appeasement, all right? To say, listen, black people, we're going to give you $20,000 for your business. Guess what? $20,000 don't take you far anyway. Right. You can't do nothing with $20,000.
Absolutely.
You can't even buy a used car for $20,000 these days.
I'm betting it on Hard Rock.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right. So she's trying to feed into it an emotional thing.
Right.
All right. And, many brothers to the street, they walk around with that anyway.
Right. Do you know what, Doc? You and I are from the same neighborhood. Let me just say this. This is what happens when you're not in touch with the people. To say, just as she said, Doc, when she went to Asheville and told them people, white people.
Yeah.
Because they just had white Katrina, right? That was white Katrina, guys. When she told them white people, I got $750 for you. This tells you who she is. No astute politician in our era would have read that card, because that's what they get. They get cards. You see this thing right? This is a card. Would have said, no, I'm not saying that. Just say, we're here to help. Whatever you need, we're here to help.
And she is gloating at it.
Yes.
I mean, not realizing the fact that illegals now are getting on the average of $4,000 to $5,000 a month. And you're going to get people in your own country who are living...
Citizens who worked hard.
Living in places like Kings Mountain, North Carolina.
Yes, shout out to Timmy McClain from Kings Mountain.
All right, $750.
Right.
You can't even buy a pair of shoes
But this tells you how far removed that these people are. And we don't need these type of people running this country. So when she said $750 to those people, and I had to tell black people the other day on the radio, hey, dog, this ain't always about us.
You see, she doesn't have no blood and sweat equity in this country.
Absolutely.
But she
All right,
grew up in
no.
the middle class.
Yeah, in Canada. How about that? How about that?
Right, in Canada,
All
right.
I mean, has anyone ever interviewed any of her friends?
Not
From
one.
so-
Not
from-
one.
from
Not
South-
one. They ain't interviewed her friends from Howard.
That's right.
Right. Where's her friends from Howard,
Where's
guys?
the professors? Anyone.
Right.
All right. She doesn't have a good background. And that's why she cheated maybe in that plagiarism too, because she lied about everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pattern.
Right. So think about this, right? So we got a lady running for president that we can't pinpoint who her best friend is. Right?
Yeah.
Barack Obama, when he ran for president, do we know who his best friend was? I could tell you, George Bush had a guy. I remember the guy. They said, "Hey, this is my buddy. We've been friends for 40 years." Remember that?
Yeah,
But even Bill Clinton. I know who Bill
yeah,
Clinton's friend was,
that's
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So now we got the first two non-whites, and we don't know who their friends are. We don't know where they grew up. We can't even pinpoint definitely where they grew up. She lied about her grandma,
Oh, yeah.
who was dead already. Shout out to Candace. I'm just saying, guys, what are we doing, black people? You need to get off of your damn emotions and cut it out, because if you lose, that's on you.
That's right.
And to any Negro in this country who had a grandmama and a great-grandmama who dealt with Jim Crow and lived during the civil rights movement, my mama, my grandmama, them, and you think this is okay, then shame on you. You need to get whatever you get. I don't care if you are AKA or any of those sorority fraternities, Divine Nine, because you guys are losing if you think this is okay.
I mean, the American people understand that emotion doesn't pay the bills. Emotion doesn't buy groceries for your family. Emotion doesn't put gas in your car. They want something concrete, bread and butter issues, in which the Harris team is not giving. Biden did not give. None of them. They sell two things, and that is race, which they pimp the struggle, all right, and emotion, trying to shame you into doing something. That's all they have.
But at what point, Doc, I got to ask you this as a professor, the gentleman who runs a religious institution, you've run for office on several occasions, you come from the real struggle, your mama and daddy come from the struggle. At what point does pimping our emotions get old?
When you begin to wise up and say that, what am I getting for this? What am I getting for all of this emotional thing, for these lies and for this discussion? Can I take something home to show my wife, my family?
Right.
All right? That gets old. It's like going to church, right? And you hear the minister just hoot and holler, and it sounds good.
Absolutely.
But at some stage, when you're not getting anything, you say, I can't go back.
No.
All right?
Doc, we grew up in this.
That's right.
You know, I talk about it all the time. I grew up in a black church, Sunlight Missionary Baptist Church, 3115 South Prairie, okay? Across the street from Dunbar Park, right?
Yeah.
Reverend Max Wayne. He's still alive. He's got to be 95, 96. Nice guy, great guy. I don't want to learn from the unlearned. Oh, did I say that? I can't learn from the unlearned, Doc. And anything I get from the unlearned is emotion, not information.
Yeah.
Because the unlearned can't give me information.
Absolutely.
And we continue to attach ourselves to the unlearned. And guess what we get? Nothing.
I had a professor once, and she used to say, don't hang out with, if you're dumb, don't hang out with other dumb people. Because dummy plus dummy equal dummy.
Dummy, right, Doc? And I hate to say this, guys. We show up every week in religious environments where the guy at the top is an unlearned person.
Yeah.
That, to me, makes no sense. Because the black church has fallen off at a level you don't even understand. And let me just say this, right? Rosalind Thomas says, and what is Trump pimping? I want you to respond to that, Doc.
What is Trump pimping?
Yeah, what is Trump pimping?
I don't say he's pimping anything, but he's speaking the truth.
Right.
All right? He's
Right.
speaking the truth of what is needed in this country.
Right.
They don't like his approach. They don't like his demeanor. But you know, sometimes manure is good for you.
Oh,
All right, manure.
Say that, Doc.
All right, manure is good for you because we need manure to grow our plants. don't we?
Absolutely.
All right.
Preach.
We need that manure
Absolutely.
for our food.
Preach.
All right. So that makes things grow. So don't worry about how he says it. Worry about and think about what he says.
You know, it's amazing to me, real quick. Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Think about this real quick, right? Donald Trump, as the old people would say, he was a good one to black people for a long time. Do you remember? We mentioned Nelson Mandela a few minutes ago.
Right.
Phil, while you sitting back there at that computer with all them screens, I want you to Google Donald Trump, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela came to the United States in 1990. This is what happens. This is why I love you, man, Doc, because I'm off the cuff at 3 a.m. When y'all sleeping, I'm learning, okay? So Donald Trump, 3 a.m., I'm reading this months ago. Nelson Mandela comes to the United States, and many of the United people in the United States, the people with the money, attach Nelson Mandela to communism.
Right.
After 27 years in a real jail with dirt floors, he gets out. He comes to the United States. He's on a tour. Nobody would rent him an airplane. The money had been raised, but nobody would rent him an airplane so he could tour the United States. Did you Google that yet?
Yeah, I got an article here from June 25th of 1990.
Put it on the
So
screen.
I'm going to put this on the screen just for the
Okay?
headline.
Put this on the damn screen. What does it say?
Trump takes Mandela under his wing. This is from the
Nelson
Los Angeles
Mandela
Times.
was given an airplane to use. They charged him, but they didn't charge him what the real number was, from Donald Trump to tour America in 1990. Read the article, Phil, for a minute while we talk, and come back, because a lot of people wouldn't even let him use their airplanes. See, the Negro is so easy to get.
Absolutely.
I'm from the streets, Doc. You remember where I was. I talk about 630 and King Drive.
Right.
A matter of fact, Quetta Jean Johnson from the Johnson family thought I was making it up. And I took her to 62nd and King Drive, and she said, I can't believe people live over here. Okay? Doc, am I right? My mama lived right there. That's called O Block right now. That's where Polo G and all them rappers, RGB Duck, they all from the street my mama lived on. I'm telling you this, guys, in real life. If Donald Trump's a racist, Joe Biden's a super racist.
Well, I'll put it like this. Donald Trump, out of all the candidates, except for maybe West, can walk on the west side with no security.
Donald Trump going to West Side
All right.
Chicago with no security.
And-
Absolutely.
And the south side.
Absolutely.
And feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
All right. Can
Absolutely.
Harris do that?
No.
Heck no.
No. Now, let me
And
just say
Biden-
this. That's heavy what you're saying. Donald Trump, Phil, I want you to hear me on this, can walk down Madison Avenue, West Side in Chicago. TL, if you're listening, hit us up. Drop us a note without security. Black folk ain't got no, they making people have a beef with Trump.
That's right.
But the people I know in Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, shout out to my good friend from Cleveland, Ohio, former secretary. He's been a guest on this show, former secretary, first black secretary of lottery in Florida, Dave.
Griffin?
Yep. David Griffin. Let me just say this. You go to Cleveland, Donald Trump can walk in the hood.
Yeah.
They're
Detroit anyway.
making us having a beef. They're making us have a beef with this guy.
That's right.
This guy was in 1,000 rap songs. Phil, am I making that up?
Nope.
I'm just saying, guys, do me a favor. Stop letting your enemy pick your enemy. Put that up what Rosalind just said. Rosalind said Biden has been a racist. And I love you, Doc. You're right, Rosalind. And that's why I love Doc. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Rosalind Thomas.
Oh, yes.
But the point, you know, Ros?
I believe so.
Oh, she's awesome, Doc.
Yes.
And I got to get her on the show. But the point I make is this. We got to stop letting our enemy pick our enemy.
Absolutely.
And I know there are people who don't believe this, especially in the South. Donald Trump can walk in the hood
right.
because the brothers in the hood ain't got no beef with him.
No. In fact, many of them remember what he did for Mike Tyson. Tyson is a friend of mine.
Absolutely.
all right?
Tyson's a friend of mine,
all right,
as
so
you
when-
know.
When the whole world went
Right.
against him
Right.
and was ready to just bury him and lose him in prison, Donald Trump went on TV and said and defended the man.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came out, gave him the opportunity to make some of that money back.
Yes.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
And we forget about those types of things. You see, he's been an ally to the African American in many ways. In fact, when he had his TV shows, many of the people who are now millionaires came through Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Even one of his greatest critics right now, Al Sharpton.
First of all, let me just say something. This is why I have no respect for Al Sharpton. Donald Trump was good to Al Sharpton.
Absolutely.
Good, like real good.
Yeah.
And for this dude with his skinny, not well ass, excuse me, Doc, I know you love
But you're right. He looks like a jerk.
for him to, it's amazing how many of these people took Donald Trump's money. I was there. You took this man's money, now you gonna hate on him?
Yeah.
I can't trust you. For Al Sharpton should be like, I'm out, I ain't in this.
That's right.
Donald Trump was good to him.
He's good to a lot of them.
Yes. Yes, he was very good to him. And this is my concern, guys. We just got to do a little research, do a little studying, right? Because I'm telling you, as long as we allow them to pick our enemies for us. See, we let our enemy we let people who don't like us say don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
That is not okay. Mm-hmm. The fact is, right now, we are in a crisis time. I'm not telling you who to go vote for. But I could tell you, if you take a moment for this lady to come on TV and say some of the things she said, and I get it, the fraternity. Look, I never joined the fraternity. And people are like, well, you just a hater because you never joined the fraternity. Yeah, I just wasn't a big ass kisser. You know what I mean? I wasn't an ass kisser. And I'm going to kiss ass. I'm going to kiss my ass that's going to benefit me financially. Mm-hmm. So the fact is, I didn't join a fraternity. But a lot of people I know who joined the fraternity, they didn't benefit from being in the fraternity financially, or it didn't change their circumstances. Yeah, they had a lot of friends.
Yeah. The thing about that sorority, I think it was AKA that she joined.
Yes. She played them.
Okay, when did she join?
Right.
Okay, no one ever says that. It's different if she joined when she was a freshman.
Yes.
And it's different if she joined when she was a junior or a senior or a grad student.
Yes.
All right. If she joined when she was a graduate student or a senior, she wasn't involved. No one knew her. She just.
I'm on the air. You know, it's amazing, Doc. I'm on the air and I'm getting a phone call. Hey, you on the Don Miller Show?
Hey, Don Miller, how you doing?
And what's your name?
D'Amica Payne.
Okay, what you got to say? Because you know we on the air.
You called me, and I was calling you back.
But what time I'm on the air?
Bye, boy.
Ain't that a funny? D'Amica calls us feel why we on the air. Like, we just playing. We ain't got nothing to do. That's why I did that. But Doc, go ahead about the fraternity sorority.
I mean, so like if she had pledged when she was a freshman or sophomore, then she would have a presence.
Right.
People would know her.
Right.
She had participated in outreach programs and so forth and so on. But you don't hear none of that being spoken of in reference to her, which tells me that she pledged either as a senior or as a grad chapter member.
Doc, she played them too.
Absolutely, she did.
Okay.
All right.
And we've seen this before, how people figure out a niche. I wanted to join something one day. I'll never forget. I wanted to join a fraternity, and what they told me I needed to do, I just wasn't comfortable doing. I'm like, no, I'm already good over here. Mm-hmm. I just believe that we got to stop, guys, and we get so caught up in just. I think black people are so desperate to have one. We're so desperate to have one. And Barack Obama, after Barack, we should be like, no, we need more. We need a little more information. Mm-hmm. But here we go again. This lady's history is not with us.
None.
But because her pigmentation may slightly veer toward our pigmentation, we believe everything they say.
Yeah. And that's why it's important when people say that she's not black. Well, she is black, but she's not African American.
Right.
I mean, an African American culture, like any culture, have their own nuances. We have our own ideas. We have our own struggles. There's an experience that we have that cannot be duplicated. Mm-hmm. All right? She doesn't have that. I mean, anytime a woman says that she's washing greens in a tub, all right, that's not African American.
Okay, let's slow down. Let's pause it right here. Doc, we grew up eating greens, me and you.
Sure.
Phil, did you have greens before?
Heck yeah.
What'd your mama wash her greens, Phil?
In the sink.
Right. If you came home, Phil, from middle school, and your mama was washing greens in the bathtub, how would you have reacted?
Like, ew, mom.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but guess what? Black people just laughed it off because I think we're so desperate to have one that we look at certain things and act like it didn't happen or wasn't said.
Well, on this one, I would say black women
Yes.
are so desperate.
Yeah, I think
on
you're
this
right.
on this line.
I think you're right.
Because the African American male, the black male, the white man, they're not like that.
Right.
All right, they don't care.
Right. But I'm not eating bathtub greens. I'm just
I mean,
gonna be
in
honest
our
with you.
culture, we don't even take food in the bathroom.
At all. Quetta Jean Johnson from the Johnson Family Ridiculous Behavior said this today. We don't take food in the bathroom.
No,
You're gonna be looked at with the side eye.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And it's just amazing how we get caught up. Phil, there's a clip I sent you about voter turnout among black men and regarding, and I want to say this, I'm going to position this conversation real quick. We have not seen black men go south on the Democratic Party to this extent since 1960. You got that clip, Phil?
There's a trend line. You know, I look at the polls all the time, and sometimes there's a trend line that I never noticed before and make me go, whoa. This is one of them, all right? This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already. And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points. That is about half the margin that Obama won them by back in November of 2012. And this, I think, is, you know, when Barack Obama goes in last week when he was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, essentially talking to young black men, he made it seem like it was a Kamala Harris specific problem. This is part of a long-standing trend of young black men moving away from the Democratic Party, and Kamala Harris is just the latest to face that magnitude of younger black men going towards the Republican.
That was most
Okay,
interesting
pause it
here.
right there. Watch this. Watch this, guys. What network was that? Was that Fox News?
I think that was CNN.
Ah, that was their channel, right? So when your channel is putting out those numbers, cut it out. This is why they're desperate, Doc. 41% from 86%. Black men are saying, okay, you know what? Nah, we good.
Yeah. I mean, black men are talking about businesses, right? They're saying straight out, we are worse off today than we were 4 years ago. And the Democrats and those people, they're not listening to it. But you know, while the Democrats are desperate, that makes them very dangerous. And what I'm talking about is their connection with what's taking place in Israel and Ukraine.
Yes.
All right?
Right.
Because if they feel so desperate, they will help to insinuate and to ignite a conflict that we will be involved in.
To pause an election.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. Because
they were remember we were talking about emotionalism. So they would try to feed on a nationalistic perspective. Now listen, we all have to get in line. We have to fight this terrible guy named country called Iran, because they are a threat to democracy. And I'm not so sure that Biden will not do this, because they already sent additional troops over there last week.
And that's a concern, Doc, and it's a real concern.
Absolutely.
Because what I believe is when you look at this, there is more to this conversation than meets the eye. This White House hasn't really taken a position on who we with, right? I've never seen this before.
Well, well, they have taken a position in reference to the Ukraine.
Right.
All right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they have taken a position in reference to Israel. All right. Now, the big issue now is that when they're going to pull the trigger. You see, now we saw today that they already bombed Yemen. All right. Killed up a whole bunch of people over there. And then now they have put our troops in harm's way because there's going to be a response.
Absolutely.
All right. So when our troops get killed, it's going to be the excuse that Israel wants the United States to say, let's go to war. and that may trigger a pause in the election.
So there is a possibility
Absolutely.
that we may not.
I mean, we may follow the same thing what the Ukrainian president did.
Yeah.
He has canceled elections at every level there.
And I want people to understand we are not conspiracy theorists. We are what you should be. We are readers. We are people who pay attention. We are people who want to know more. We are people who believe information changes lives. So please don't think we're just sitting around, ain't got nothing else to do but create conspiracies. But I can tell you that there is a giant push to make sure that Donald Trump, the businessman, does not become president again.
It's a very dangerous thing. You know, there's 4 things they do to try to keep you out of power. The first thing is that they try to assassinate your character. They did that with him.
Yep.
All right. The second element is to trump up charges. All right.
They did that.
Okay. The third one is to try to attack your pocketbook. They're doing that. And the last one is outright murder.
Yep.
All right. Now, don't think it's conspiracy because it's happened so many other times before, especially with African American leaders, but other people too.
Right.
All right. So we're at that threshold now. If they can't stop him the other 3 ways, they will try to stop him physically.
You know, Phil, I just sent you something because one of my listeners just asked me a question. How do I know what the relationship with Donald Trump and Mike Tyson was? And I just want to say, first of all, Mike Tyson's already said it, that he had a relationship with Donald Trump and he supports Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Okay, he said it. Mike said it himself.
That's right.
But Phil, I just sent you something.
I didn't get it yet.
Okay, when Mike Tyson was in the Indiana State Penitentiary, right? I can tell you for a fact that his relationship with Donald Trump was a real one, and Donald Trump was there for not just Mike, but for a lot of these young guys with a bunch of money who were making big mistakes with their money.
I'm going to tell you who else. All right. Mike, Donald Trump is a friend to Kalima Ali.
Absolutely.
Ali's wife.
Absolutely.
He was a friend to Muhammad Ali.
I know
in
for a
his
fact.
cell.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So he's a friend to Don King.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, you will never hear Don say anything bad about
Don
it.
King supports him 100%.
I got it.
But my name is on the list. If you can go find the list of Mike Tyson in jail in the Indiana State Prison in I think it might have been Terre Haute, my name would show up on that list of people who went to see him. And so I'm telling you that the Donald Trump racist guys that everybody's talking about today, I can go down the list of black folk politicians, entertainers that I've sat down and broken bread with who was singing his praises is in the 90s and the 2000s for him coming to the rescue financially or with advice. So I'm just amazed. 1990, Mandela comes to America. It is a major event. He was selling out stadiums. Mandela was showing up to 100,000 people in L.A., in Chicago, Soldier Field, because Nelson Mandela they couldn't get a plane for him because people had attached him to something he was not attached to. Trump said, here, take one of our planes.
That's right. In fact, remember, Kamala Harris also has taken money from him.
Yes.
And she said he was a friend.
Absolutely.
Right,
She called him a friend. They wiped that video. That video is gone. So, again, to the listener who just said, how do you know what Mike Tyson was thinking?
I got a video with that here.
Okay.
While I'm pulling up your picture.
Okay,
here.
show me what you got.
Just some guy like us that became president. And, you know, he was good to everybody when he was giving them free tickets and free hotel rooms. You know, he just became a president, and I guess his politics changed or whatever it is. But I always remember him from being a good guy, paying me a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Help giving my friends rooms and free food, you know, so I know the president and who he was, and I know that guy too. You know, that's just the real deal. Every time you talk about Trump, people go, you know, what's that stuff again? They click you and they stop you, whatever it is. See, that's why
I love Mikey. So anyway, I know Mike, and I love Mike, okay? And I'm telling you, Mike is okay today really, because Trump was in his corner.
Yeah.
And he was in his corner when Mike was arrested and charged with that bogus ass rape, because Mike didn't rape her.
No.
Okay.
We know the story.
Oh, you know the story, Doc. We were there. And so, again, it's just amazing how a guy becomes a blatant anti-Negro racist when his history was with us.
Mm-hmm.
His history was with us. Show me a picture of Joe Biden from the 70s and 80s with a black person. You can't.
No.
You won't find one. And
Well,
that's the problem.
Remember, Biden was talking about 3 strikes you out. Remember?
Talking about it, writing about it in legislation.
Right.
You got that picture, Phil?
It's loading. Oh.
Because I'm just saying, guys, I'm just tired, man. It's draining. It's wrong. And my friends all over the country who've been in this for a long time, who've separated themselves from ridiculousness and are moving toward the light. I got a good friend. I love this gentleman. He's got a daily show on Fox during the day. Charles Payne, Fox Business. You got my clip from Charles, man.
Yeah, I got the picture though. You want to see the picture
Okay.
now?
Let's play Charles real quick before we get out of here. Okay.
Black
Charles
men
Payne.
have to get over the fact that you got a woman on the ticket.
Right.
And are you afraid to vote for her is basically what he did and challenged them.
A damn shame. It's like, it's so insulting. Could you imagine a white man talking down to black people like that, particularly black men? That's our issue, women. It's not the fact that I don't have a job or my job is not existing or, I'm in a world where, by the way, progressives are erasing me from movies, from billboards, from opportunities. The Democratic Party, particularly progressives in Hollywood, Madison Avenue, Washington, D.C., Wall Street, they have erased the black man. There's no opportunities for black men anywhere in their world. And I think a lot of it centers around what they perceive as to be too much toxic masculinity. They hate black masculinity. They hate it. And they've gone to war with it. And black men have noticed it. And guess what? They're saying, we're not going to take it anymore. Give you an example. By the way, they're tired of being pimped. Mm-hmm. Brothers are tired of being pimped. Kamala Harris is going to do something to legalize marijuana. As they were pushing for all these states, the legalization thing, every time they put black people in the commercials, front row, it's opportunities for minorities. This is an article from 2022. Payne, talking about Congressman Donald Payne at the time, outraged that New Jersey denied cannabis licenses to all black-owned businesses who applied. To every single one. None. But they had the ads, black kids and black people making money from this. But when it came through, they gave them zero.
Thank you so much, Phil. That's my friend. Go check him out every day on Fox Business. That's my friend. I love that gentleman. He's been on the show before with us. And that's the truth. We're tired of being pimped. So to the caller who said, what do I know what Mike Tyson was thinking? This is a picture of me in the prison with my good friend Calvin Hollins, and we drove down from Chicago. I'm a young guy. I'm in my 20s with Mike Tyson in the Terre Haute State Prison in Terre Haute, Indiana, with Mike Tyson. And I love Mike. And that's Calvin, my buddy. And Calvin went to see Mike a lot more than me. I'm probably on the list 3 times. Calvin's probably on the list 23 times. And so don't ask me how I know what Mike was thinking, but I can tell you Mike's a G. And no G from where Dr. White and I come from are going to speak up for somebody who wasn't solid with them.
Absolutely.
So listen, everybody, thank you so much. You can follow Dr. White. Put it up, man, so they can follow Dr. White, because Dr. White, we ain't done with Dr. White. He's going to come back. He's going to absolutely stay in the political arena. We love him. He's a scholar. I want him on the show as much as I can get him. He's got a lot going on. He's running a mosque. He's a family man, but he is my friend. He's a friend of the Don Miller Show. Phil, the podcast doctor, man, you good?
Yes, sir.
Tell them how they can follow you, man.
Just Google me, baby.
All right, the podcast doctor. And so myself, Don Miller, and for all of us here at the Don Miller Show, check us out if you're listening on radio, WOKB Radio, Tuesday 12 to 2. Grab that app. They got an app over there. But listen, I got a plan coming up real soon. I'll make a big announcement. But we want to thank you so much. Dr. White, man, I love you, bro.
Love you
man,
too,
I
man.
just
Thank
love
you.
my people, man. Southside Chicago. I don't know where y'all going, but I'm going to the house. Bye-bye, everybody.